Okay, so we talked a bit about DevOps. Let's just talk about who is the customer? Who are the customers for Sysdig?
I think that's it's quite an interesting one. Who is the customer inside of our customer? We see it happen from a number of different angles. So I think our natural landing point at this point in time is the people that are architecting and managing and running the platform. The platform as a service, whether it's Kubernetes, OpenShift, Docker, whatever it is, those guys tend to be a natural landing place. And I think within that, what we also have is a number of customers. So the business, the developers, the people that can actually get value out of what we're doing as well.
Yeah.
And that helps to bring those two parts of the organisation together a little bit. We've got a group of people that are able to run an intelligence platform and a monitoring solution that can give value back to developers with information and metrics they require, and it means they can be more hands-off. So it can be a number of different ways. Then when you add in the security piece, then you get another angle within that as well. So that can be perhaps security people placing requirements onto the people running the platform, and they may be empowered to go and find something that just meet the requirements, or it could be the security guys themselves say, well, we need a tool to be able to look into what's going on in this environment and everything that's happening. So I think if you look at that, there's a number of different landing places for the people that get benefit out of what Sysdig does. And I think we find with customers quite a lot, you start in one place and it propagates out a little bit to others. So we have one customer in the Nordics who we started with a secure use case, and very quickly, as they bought the product, it was quite a specific requirement they were having, and as they bought the product, started to use it, the DevOps guys, the platform guys, started to really get involved in how they were using the monitoring part of that.
Right.
I think there's different ways of approaching it. I don't know. Do you think the same thing?
I think it's outcome based, isn't it? It's what does the customer really need out of it? We've got those customers that know they have problems but don't know what the problems are, so they need maximum visibility. They need to know everything so they can really hone down on what their issues might be. And then we have other customers with very specific issues that are causing them real pain, and we need to go and solve them for them. So whether that's through the monitoring side, the security side, the forensic side, or a combination thereof, it really does vary. So the customer will be diverse in any of those examples. The business owner could be the CIO, CTO, CISO, a head of pretty much any IT department you can think of. So it really is a challenge for us to say, well, that is the cookie cutter ideal customer for us, because it just varies. And it depends how ingrained in the business the platform is. If you take a fintech type company, they're probably, maybe for argument's sake, a couple of hundred people, but the lion's share of those people will probably be developers, and they'll be an all online business. So the platform will be totally pervasive throughout their business. Their business is the platform. If you take a large high street bank, then the chances are they have a set of cool kids within the business who are developing what the bank will look like in 5-10 years time, and they're the future of the business. So it's a very different kind of proposition for them. They've got perhaps more time and more specificity and more other departments and more compliance and more legislation to answer. So that really is a difficult question, but a good one.
And the other thing with that is it depends on the consumption model. The benefit and the problem of containers in the container world is there's a plethora of ways to consume containers. It could be that I'm going to stand up my own platform. I'm going to go out there, I'm going to install OpenShift, I'm going to own that OpenShift infrastructure, in which case I'm buying a contract from Red Hat and I've got the assurance of that. Or I could go out there and say I want to do vanilla Kubernetes because I always want the latest and greatest, in which case again I'm maintaining that. Or it could be don't care. I want to consume containers, I want them to be auto-provisioned, I want them to auto-scale, but I just want to consume them. Give me an API, in which case I'm going out and using GKE or whatever. Who you are in provisioning and owning that platform or owning that interface will depend on what you want out of it and what your vision is on that. Because it could be that if I'm just going and consuming GKE, I'm a developer. I'm a bunch of DevOps guys, but we call ourselves DevOps, but all we're doing is automating. We don't look at the infrastructure because we don't care about it. It's unnecessary noise. So give me a platform and I'll consume that platform. But I want to know what's going on there. I want to have that visibility.
I think one of the things that's really interesting that we haven't touched on yet is the ability that Sysdig has to solve problems that exist today in a current infrastructure virtualized world that don't exist in a container world because we can already get to those points. So if you think for the last however many years, people have been trying to look at applications in a VMware environment and what talks to what and how it communicates both at an application level and a TCP level and what goes on. It's really hard. People don't have a clue half the time that visibility of what happens. You put Sysdig in, and literally within seconds, you can see all of the network connections, see what talks to what, you can see the latency between them, you can see it at a TCP connection level, you can see it at the service-to-service level, every single thing that's going on. And we just shoehorn that up into a topology view, straight out of the box, and give you a tube map, a London Underground tube map of everything that's talking, and you don't ever have to worry about it again. And that's something that's hard in the real world, but we don't even have to worry about it in the container world because Sysdig just does it.
I think what Ed touched on is key about instrumentation of code as well. There's a lot of reliance in the industry on instrumenting code, making sure that the code's reporting back and we can scrape the right metrics. Things like Sysdig, it's out of the box. You don't have to do anything with your code, so you can follow your business process and do what you want without having to worry developers about adding extra time or effort in. You can just do it, and that is a very, very powerful thing, and particularly for getting people to consume Sysdig and the platform in general.
And to add to that as well, I think I love how complementary we are. So a lot of people come to us and say, we've already instrumented our code, or we've already got a log system, we've already got a scene. Great, keep using those, because they give you value in some specific things. You've trained your team to use them. What we're going to do is we're going to extract the useful metrics out of that, and we're going to add to those metrics to give you this holistic view of things. So no matter where you're looking at it, you're not just narrow focused into saying, I just want to look at code, or I just want to look at logs, or I just want to look at a scene of events. We're saying you can see all that stuff, and we'll add additional metrics there to give you that visibility. Keep using the tools that you've trained your teams and you're comfortable with. We're going to overlay that to give you more.
I think then you've got operational groups that are looking at what happens operationally in platforms. They have a bunch of tools they've had for many, many years, and change is hard for those guys because the reality is they're plugged into lots and lots of different things. Do they look at us and perhaps see us and say, we're looking at Sysdig, the platform guys are saying we need to use this, can't we use our old tools? Well, the platform guys don't get the right level of visibility into those environments with the old tools. And the operations guys don't necessarily want to go and learn something new because they've still got to manage all the legacy stuff, which today is still bigger than the new world. So how does that, how do you set and recompense the two together? Well, as Chris just said, we're not trying to completely replace. We're trying to add value into some of those other things as well. We can take metrics from lots of different places and feed those into what we do. People talk about open source based monitoring with things like Prometheus. We basically embrace what that open source tooling does in Prometheus, and we bring that in and we industrialize those metrics and add a lot of other stuff into it as well, so that when you come out of that and you see something that's wrong, you can again go back to the point of being able to take an action on that and being able to troubleshoot and delve into and then analyze what's happening. Because if you can't do those bits, all of those metrics are meaningless again. So we become this new world sort of almost integrator of all of the metrics in terms of our back end, whether that's delivered on a customer environment software or whether it's delivered in our SaaS-based model. We're basically being able to collect all that information from the agents, make sense of it alongside the orchestrator, from a Kubernetes perspective, whenever that is, and then show people that information however they want to see it. Slice and dice it whatever they need. And it's just added extra, it's just layers on top of what people have got today, and they just can't pinpoint that information.
And I think that drives collaboration between the teams, right? So if they've got a data set that we're providing, supplemented by our integrations with Seam or whatever else, then they're all working on a common data set. So whether you're a dev or you're in DevOps or you're security, you're a DevSecOps or you're an operation guy, you're a server guy who provides something into the containerized environment, and there's some latency or whatever it may be. There's a common data set there for everyone to work on, a common view, a common platform, so that people can really come together and actually understand what's going on, rather than argue about whose fault it is, which is unfortunately more the norm than we'd like. But we can help solve some of those problems and stop the finger pointing and just get it done quick.
I think there is there are things that are really hard to do. That Sysdig can make slightly easier. And from a technical perspective, for instance, just how would you look at You have the situation where a container is consistently just dying, and you don't know how to reset it. And every time a container goes, obviously the system itself will just bring another one up, and then it just gets in this environment. We talk about this quite a lot, Chris. Don't we? It's really hard to understand, but it's one of those things that we can help with.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in Kubernetes, what Kubernetes does is called crash loop backoff. So rather than a container continually crashing and continually dying, it detects it starts to die and it starts to slow that down. So rather than dying every second, it's going to say, right, I'm going to not restart you for 10 seconds, then I'm not going to restart you for 30, then 60, then a minute, and so on. But you end up with a container that's permanently dead, and it's in a state called crash loop backoff. So what we can then do is then see that, that's an event to us. So we can trigger our forensic analysis of that, take a capture, and be able to drill into it. Okay, what is this? Why is this constantly dying? And then we're giving you that information that you wouldn't have had before because it's a container. If I run it as a Docker on my laptop, it runs fine. Why is it dying constantly in Kubernetes? Oh, because it's pointing to a database server that's also on my laptop. Oops. Or it's pointing at a DNS server that is not the same DNS server. I didn't use variables for my DNS server name, so it's pointing at a dev DNS server instead of production DNS server. All that stuff is crystal clear as soon as you load the capture file, because you see it, the first thing it does, tries to make a call to make it doesn't exist, errors, dies. So that's crystal clear as soon as you look at that capture, but just looking at the fact that it's in crash loop backoff, okay, what do I do now?
Well, this might sound really techie stuff, but in this environment it becomes, things like this become quite common.
Yeah.
But the problem is that it's really hard to detect. So your systems are saying that most of the time there's nothing really wrong. The problem is you've got this issue, you don't know how to get through to it. Again, this goes back to the point of if you've got the understanding and you can see what's going on, and you've got the ability to delve into it from the capture and troubleshoot it, you can fix the problem and actually have your system run properly. It's imperative that you reduce the time to fix things, and that's effectively another way of doing it. Although it sounds really technical, it does have a big impact in the value in the business.